Hey everyone, I'm Ryan with Prairie Addiction. I decided to do a video today on how to wrap your rifle with Mossy Oak gun skins. I haven't seen too many videos on YouTube about it from customers. I'm not sponsored by Mossy Oak. They didn't tell me to do this, they didn't pay for me to do this, so I wanted to put a video together, show you guys how easy it is, and the fact that Mossy Oak comes out with some great stuff. This vinyl that they have is just absolutely amazing. I've wrapped rifle right here. I did my truck, I did the bottom part of my truck, I did the interior. Also my father-in-law's truck and my mother-in-law and my wife's car, I've all done theirs. So this gun that I did here a couple weeks ago, this is my first attempt at the gun skin. This is a Remington 700, 30-06 here. I bought it about 3 years ago. This was all black with the gray grips here. A couple years ago, probably a year after I bought it, Remington came out with another rifle similar to this that was all camo. And instead of me going out and buying that gun there, I decided to buy the wrap, just see if I can turn it into something that I like. The wrap is very easy to put on. It turned out really well. I wrapped the stock, the barrel, and the scope on here. Just super easy to use, especially with all their vinyl that they have. So the rifle that we're going to be wrapping today is my Savage 22. Nothing special about it. Wood stock. We're going to wrap the barrel. We're going to wrap the scope. I'm not going to wrap the receiver, although it does come with a piece for it. I just don't really care for that look. I kind of like to leave a little bit of black in it. When you open the box, what you'll find is you'll have a right and a left buttstock piece. You have your barrel piece right here, which you can see there's going to be plenty left over for it. This is the receiver piece that I'm not going to be using. I'll probably end up using it to wrap the scope. I didn't get the scope kit with this, just because I have a couple other pieces left over that I can make up and finish the scope with. Then you have two 4-in grip pieces here. There's a line cut down right in the middle here, so there's actually two pieces on this one sheet. So now let's take this 22 apart. Alright, so I've got the gun apart. A couple screws here hold the barrel, the trigger guard. Also took the studs out for the sling and took the shoulder pad off right down here. So all I'm left with is this perfect wooden stock here. So now we have to clean it. What I use, just regular old shop towel. Some people you'll see use soap and water, whatever. Just whatever gets the grease and all the oil off of it. I use rubbing alcohol. I've tested it in a little spot right under here. That way if it ever does something to the finish, I can actually put the little trim piece back on, which is right here. I can actually take that, put that back on where it goes, and if something were to happen, it'll actually cover it up. So I've tested it, made sure that the finish isn't gonna mess up. So you just want to clean it really, really good. You want to get every nook and cranny, everywhere that wrap is going to be touching. You want to make sure you get this checker pattern right here. On this particular rifle, I'm going to cover this up. I'm actually going to put my wrap over this here. We'll see what it looks like when I get done. If I don't like it, I can always just cut out around this little shape here and reveal the checker pattern. So we're going to start with that. See how it looks when I get done. A couple tools that you'll need. One is a heat gun or a hair dryer. I use a hair dryer. My wife, just don't tell her. Another one is X-Acto knife, a hobby knife, something that's very sharp. If you get a dull knife and you're trying to cut the material, it's going to kind of drag it, and it's going to rip and tear. So the sharper the knife, the better. It's going to be much easier. One of the little tricks that I learned here, since I'm right-handed, my cheek, the way I hold the gun, and my cheek go right here. So I don't want the seam, or the overlapping side of it, I guess. I don't want that hitting my cheek when I'm resting on it. So I always start with the right side of the rifle. So then my left side will overlap, my seam will be on this side. That way it's a nice smooth, I'm not trying to undo it, lift it up or anything like that. So starting with the right side, we got it cleaned out. Alright. Each side is marked. You got right buttstock and left buttstock. So we're going to start with the right side. So what you'll do is you'll just peel it off of here. Alright, so you want to line it up. What I do is I leave about a 1/4 inch gap right here just so I know I have enough material. And I want to go high enough that it'll cover the whole thing. And keeping it straight with right there also. And the nice thing about this, if you don't get it set where you want it, you just peel it right back off and reset it. If you get a bubble or a wrinkle, just reset it there. Alright, so we got one side laid down. Now you see that I still have some that's sticking up here. What I do is I just get it past the halfway point. So if you were to divide this rifle or this stock here right down the center, I just want to get over half of that with no wrinkles or anything like that. What I do is I'll come back in and I'll come right down the middle here, trim this first piece off. Same thing with the underside. I'll come right down here, trim this off. That way it looks nice and flush and I don't have to worry about trying to get all this over. There's a lot of extra material right here that I could probably get all the wrinkles out. You can kind of see some wrinkles right in here. I could probably get it if I worked it enough, but at this I just found that's a little bit easier doing it this way. you can see I left a little extra there. You can just fold it right down there. That way when you put your shoulder piece back on the end there, it'll keep it from peeling back. So, we got one side done. That's what it looks like now. That's what it looked like before. Alright, there we go. The back end of the stock is done. Now what I did is I took the heat gun after I got it all wrapped and stretched and trimmed and everything. I took the heat gun and actually just went over the whole entire backside here, pushing down, applying heat just to let everything set. So there's our camo on the back end of it. It's already looking better already. So now we're going to add the right and left forend grip here. Now with this, it don't really matter how you do it, but because I hold my gun like this, I always wrap, like I said, the left side first, just because when I go to grab it, I don't want to go and start to try to peel that off when I grab it like that. So what I do is I leave my extra, or my second piece, goes along this side here. So when I grab it, I'm not peeling it back. So we're going to start with the left side here. Find your piece that's got, you can see the line right down the middle here. Doesn't matter what side you use. I like to look at it this way, and I got the logo facing this way, so I'll put it just like that. So peel it off here. Now this seam here, you're probably going to see a little bit because the camel pattern doesn't match up. Now if I was to wrap this in brush camo or something like that, that seam would have lined up a heck of a lot better than it is with this, but still nonetheless it's camo. So you can see how much extra we're going to have. So it gives me a lot of playroom. So I'm going to start it right about here, about like that. So just going to go through, push it down, get all these little wrinkles out. Now with this, what we could have done is, I've seen them do where they cut kind of an S shape or a little squiggly line so that it matches up a little better. Usually I'll do that after the fact just so I can see where my lines are. You can kind of feel right here, about right there is where this the stock ends right here, where the camo ends. You can feel it there. So I know that I have about an inch to play with throughout the whole thing there. And you can feel right there, that's where the bolt slides down and you lock it in places right there. I'm going to cut that out. I'm not going to put camo on that. Makes it a little difficult right there. So. Just like that. Got everything trimmed out. So now what I'll do is I'll take my hair dryer here. I'll go over this whole side, hit it with some heat so that everything sticks nice to it. Where this checker pattern is, make sure I get it all in there. And you can actually, from sitting right here, you can actually see where the checker pattern is. I heated it up enough so that you can actually see it when you push it down here. You can actually see where that is. So if I end up not liking that, which I think I'm going to leave it this way, for whatever reason, if I don't like that, I can just come right along. I can feel where the groove is. I can cut it out and it'll rebuild that checker pattern that's below it. So now this side, and we're almost there. got this second side of it on here. Still have to trim it yet. But I wrapped this front part actually when you can kind of see my line right there where this second piece or the first piece ends. So when I trim it, I'm going to trim it just on the other side of that line. Just so I get some overlap. Now with this piece here, I don't know if you can see it, but there's actually a white line right here. So I'm going to actually trim a little bit, kind of do a little bit of a zigzag design on it so that it, hopefully that it blends in just a little bit. And then just trim it just like I did the other side. The only difference is I don't have the where the bolt sits. So it'll all be one straight piece going all the way to the back here. Same thing with the bottom here. You can see right here is my line from my first piece. So I'm going to cut on that side of the line there. Alright, so we've got the wood stock all done. Everything's trimmed. Everything looks good. So now we move on to the barrel and then we can put it all together. Alright, so I got my barrel here. I took my scope off. I put some tape on it so I know where my scope mounts go. So hopefully I don't have to do a whole lot of work when I re-sight it in. This one you want to clean very well. Since I'm not doing the receiver, I'm not going to worry about that as much. But I am going to worry about the barrel. So especially getting it back here, there's a lot of grease, a lot of gunpowder residue. A lot of dirty stuff on this barrel here. So making sure I get it extra good here. Alright, now my barrel actually has two dovetail joints here for iron sights. I'm actually going to cut those out. I'm not going to wrap it over it. I'm going to cut it out just because I'm going to hit it on something and they're going to break anyway. So, some barrels are different. All your bigger caliber barrels, they kind of flare out when they get back here towards the receiver. It makes it a little bit difficult to wrap it. Not too awful bad. This one is almost the same size throughout, so this one should be fairly easy. You want your seam to be right along the bottom. That way you don't ever see it. So the way I do that is I look, I see how my barrel is going to sit in my rifle. And this looks right here. So we'll peel it back, and I start at the top or the side somewhere, and I'll wrap one side down to the bottom and I'll trim it. And then I'll go back, wrap the other side, overlap it, and then trim it again. Just so I know where my seam's going to be. You could start now the bottom side of the barrel, it doesn't matter how well you do it, other than what hangs off the end of the gun or the stock there. But like all this right here, you can kind of see where maybe it didn't touch right there. No big deal, you're not going to see it anyway. So I'll take it, I'll push it back as far as I can here. And it may be easier just to take this actual end piece and start right there. But I leave a little gap. So what I do is actually trim back away from the receiver, I don't know, about 1/8 of an inch. I'll trim it in a nice circle here. Best I can do with my hands. Fold it down a little bit. So I'll leave a little gap right there like that. And I'll do the same right up here at the very top. I'll trim that, and I'll leave probably about 1/16 of an inch. Now if you were to do the receiver here, you'd do the same thing, just tuck it right there, roll it over, trim everything out. Safety switch, all that. You trim everything out, but I don't like the way it looks. Not a big fan of it. So I don't ever do mine. I just leave them the original black that it came in. If my barrel was stainless, I would not wrap it. It would just stay stainless. So now we can assemble the Alright, we have our completed stock, completed barrel, everything's been wrapped. So now all we have to do is just reassemble it, put it together, and see what it looks like. there you have it. 22 wrapped in Mossy Oak Gun Skin Breakup Infinity. The only thing left to do that right now is we got to do the scope, still to come, and put on our Mossy Oak decals. Alright, now that we have the rifle wrapped, what we're going to do is wrap the scope. There's a couple different ways to do it. The way that I do it and the way that I saw in the video that I watched is separated into a couple different sections. What I do is I do this cone piece first. I'll take it right here at this ring and I'll trim it right there and fill it with a little spacer right there. I don't ever do under my rings. I keep my rings on when I do it, just so that the scope fits nicely when you go to put it back on. So what I do here, I'll just measure. I'll take this about like that. May use this other small piece here. That'll give us enough. So I'll take this small piece and I'll just wrap it around using the heat. You have this cone shaped here, so it's going to get a little tricky. I'm trying to get by with get around all that material that you're going to be not using. When you get to the back here, the eyepiece, you can either take all the way out or you can just unscrew it like that. This one happens to come all the way out, and then you'll trim right along that right there. And then you can do a little filler piece right here, and right here. That way you'll still have, the rings will be black, your caps will be black, and this little middle section will be black. So, let's get started. And there you have it. Perfectly wrapped scope. Will go along with your new rifle. Now all I have to do is just install it, put it back on my 22, and we're done. Alright everyone, just finished up with the 22. Got my scope mounted back on it here. This is the finished product. This is what it looks like. This is what it's going to look like when I take it out in the field. $25, can't beat it. Totally different gun. So both of them are sitting here, both are in the same pattern. Any gun that I buy now, I will wrap. Just turned out great. It's so easy to do. $25, like I said, I mean, you just can't go wrong with that. So until next time, have fun wrapping.